Aspects of DEADONDAVE are over the top and meant strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't take it too seriously and have some fun.
Goodness, oh my damn, yes. And we are here a little bit later than I intended. I apologize for that. Everybody who has ever warned me about Xfinity and told me that I would eventually hate it, well, congratulations. You're a bunch of Nostradamuses. You were 100% correct, because here it is. There's the beginning of it. For no reason whatsoever, the entire goddamn block went down, and for now it's back up. So we're here. I really didn't have much of a show to put together in the first place. I know I wanted to talk about Raw. That was the big thing I wanted to talk about, but I was going to put together a couple other topics and, just make a little super show out of it with a whole bunch of stuff, including the thing that Tommy talked about today, which I was going to cover a few days ago, but then I decided, since it was kind of an old topic, I decided not to. The guy is a kook anyway. He's kind of known for being a Bigfoot guy, so I decided not to cover that topic. Tommy did a fucking fantastic job with it, though. My God, great job. Holy shit. But regardless, we're here, and I decided that this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and really let's have a catch up. Let's have a catch up. Let's talk and get all kinds of caught up. That sounds like fun, right? We're going to do a viewer questions, basically. I'm going to take your calls, your questions, your hopes, your dreams, your quips, your quotes, and so much more. Get up into my Discord. Fill it up now. The more people are in there, the longer the show will go, and we will get through everything. If you have wrestling topics, if you have YouTube topics, if you have personal topics, whatever the case may be, hit me up. I want to talk to you. But first, we are going to start with the thing that brought me to the damn dance in the first place, and that would be not just wrestling, but Monday Night Raw. And why am I going out of my way to talk about this edition of Monday Night Raw when I really haven't gone above and beyond in quite a while to make sure that I covered something that specifically happened in WWE or really wrestling in general? Well, short answer is Raw was pretty damn good last night. I mean, that's really the crux of it. Raw felt so strange and weird to me, but in the best possible way. It feels like something major is shifting right now within WWE, and I don't know what it is, at least on Monday Night Raw. Last night was bizarre. We had a lot of people return. We're going to talk about how some of those returns didn't go all so well. We had some interesting new pairings, which were confusing, but not overly bad, and there is potential for some of it to work. But not only that, we had some chilling, thrilling, and incredible moments that happened on Monday Night Raw, and I think that is definitely worth talking about. There are two things that are absolutely a must, three things actually, that are absolutely a must that you have to address if you talk about last night's Raw. And what we'll do is we'll start with the bad, and then we'll go to the two goods. Two greats, I would actually venture to say. Let's get it out of the way. Let's start right off the bat, the Bella Twins. Oh my God, the Bella Twins. Look, the Bella Twins have never been great wrestlers. Now, I have gone on record in the past in saying that I really appreciate what Nikki, in particular, has done to improve herself. Before she got hurt, I felt Nikki Bella was actually starting to really become a good, competent in-ring performer. I really likened her in a lot of ways to Trish. Trish, who was a terrible in-ring performer for a very long time, learned how to friggin' work and then became a fantastic champion. Nikki followed that same path in a lot of ways, and maybe talent can be somewhat sexually transmitted. I don't fucking know, but the reality is she did get better for a time. But after all the time that she's taken off, she put on a little bit of weight. I'm not trying to take that away from her or anything. Same thing with Brie. I know that Brie had a baby and all that. But here's the problem with it. And this is not me body shaming anybody. Me of all people would never be body shaming another fucking individual on this planet in the first place. But the reality is the Bella Twins have never been extremely athletic. Not even a little bit. They're just not athletic people. They don't run well. They don't move well. They don't look natural even a little bit when they're doing things. It's kind of a trudge and a sludge and a drawl to get through. It's always been that way. But like I said, there have been improvement, and you would be remiss to not bring that up. But that's all irrelevant when we talk about last night. As they came back and everything just looked wrong. Everything just looked wrong with them. Like I said, there was some weight gain. It looked like a little bit, especially with Brie. Brie definitely looked bigger. She obviously had a kid, and I was glad for that, by the way. In fact, at first, when Brie started the match, I was like, ooh, Brie looks the best version of Brie I've ever seen. I like that she put some meat on her bones. You know, having a baby will do that. I said in the past that I always hated how frail she looked. She didn't look like she could lift anybody else. It just never felt that way to me. But then, you know, this is kind of where I was happy with her look, because she looked like a normal human being. But the problem is she's doesn't have the athleticism of even a normal human being. It was just awful. It was so bad. I mean, like, it really boggled my mind to watch Brie Bella to be barely able to throw a drop kick. I mean, her drop kicks were 6 inches off the fucking ground, and people were having to sell to it. It was so bad that if you go back and watch Raw again, you can watch the cameras. Every time that she throws a drop kick, the camera has to pull away and go to a different angle, because it would just show exactly how much they were missing. And it was like that with Nikki as well. A little bit less with Nikki than Brie. And of course, the big thing that happened was Brie, trying to kill herself twice. You know, there was a weird suicide dive attempt early, and she stutter stepped on the way. It's like she thought she was going to get caught by a forearm that never came, and she just kind of nosedived right into the ring apron. And it was ugly. It was really, really ugly. And the announcers tried to play it off and all that type of stuff, and you know, it was what it was. But then, not only that, they decided to have her do it again. And Nikki, like, pumped her up, and you could see that Brie was like, ooh, ooh, and she still tried to impale herself into the ground like a fucking railroad spike. It's just like that. Why? Who's authorizing these moves? Is Daniel Bryan blowing sunshine up Brie Bella's ass? I don't know, but it was really bad. It was laughably bad, and it was really disturbing that how much the commentary were putting them over. And it's making me wonder if something has changed in the back. Policy of some kind, bullying laws. I don't know if Renee coming on has something to do with it. But the commentary team, who has been, like, unscrupulously fucking mean to each other and to wrestlers for like the last 2 years, laughing at wrestlers at times, Titus O'Neil falling, for example. Same with other people who have fallen, who have made mistakes. They don't really protect them too much on commentary too often. You'll see it very, 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 very often where this happens, and they just kind of call it out, and they'll make fun of it, or they'll make an excuse. But in this case, they were like putting them over as, you know, talented individuals, and they kept using the word athletic and driven and all of this stuff. It was really driving me absolutely insane. It was hard to get through. But it did not take away from the rest of the show. So getting the bad out of the way, I want to get to the good. And before I get to the good, I want to go ahead and give a little bit of love to the chat, because I see a whole bunch of people. Thank you guys for showing up. I know it was late. Sorry. Xfinity took a shit. Everything was out on the block for about 2 hours. Everything's back up now. Thank you for coming in. I do appreciate you guys. You're all fucking awesome. I see Fake, who did tonight's thumbnail. Thank you so much for that, Fake. I appreciate that. Makad here. P-Gaze. Danny Girl. What up? Texas. Gorgeous woman, you. Old School Matt's in the house. Carl G. Optimus Wilbur. Makad. All you wonderful people. How you guys doing? It's good to see ya. Smoke Key as well. All right, so before we get into the good also, so you know we are still drinking the brewskis. If you want to see a big big old chug faster than anybody else on YouTube. I think I did a 3-second or maybe even sub 3-second chug earlier today on Twitch. If you want to see if I can better that, $15 to the channel and I will take a chug and you'll get the brand new the notification for the donation stuff. So completely up to you. If not, make sure you at least tweet out stream, let everybody know that we're here. Let's fill up the room, get as many people up in this piece as we possibly can, because we have people like Zion Smith in the chat. That's right, I got a Zion in my chat. You don't have a Zion on your chat. You don't. You know, you wish you did, but you don't. What's up, T-Ghost? I see you as well. Let's get to the good, because I do believe there was a whole hell of a lot of good. Now, before we get to the big elephant in the room and what it all meant, you know, Taker and HBK, we're going to talk about that. Before we get there, let's talk about what I think storyline-wise might be the most important thing that's happened in the WWE in a very long time. I don't know if they are going for a straight-up Civil War storyline. That's what it feels like. Let's talk about the opening. When we have this new faction, Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre, whom I absolutely love together, by the way. I think this is a fantastic faction, long overdue. I hope it's not a microwave storyline. This is something that could have legs, and they could do a lot with it. Obviously, they've had to change direction with Braun Strowman a little bit. They've had to tone down his comedy. They had to tone down his bullshit. They have to just go back and really allow him to be that monster again. And it seemed like that's where he was going for last night. We saw him kind of taking a couple shots at the crowd. This is more about Braun Strowman, being that monster. He even had good justification, though, just in case they want to keep him as face. I thought that was very smart. He justifiably stated, I wanted to do this like a man. I wanted to do this face to face, eye to eye. But Roman had to bring his brothers into the situation, so I found my own pack. That was brilliant. That's good writing. That's a really good way to progress a storyline. It makes sense. There's no reason to question it, and it all works very, very, very well. So I was happy to see that. That was very cool. But as it went on, we had the entire Shield would come down and try to get retribution. And then the entire locker room came out. And I thought it was just going to be like a brawl situation, but they were attacking the Shield, and at first not attacking the rest of the guys who were in the ring. Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Nobody was touching them. Finn Balor got shit whipped because they were all brawling. It was very weird. I didn't know what was going on. Why are faces attacking the Shield? What's happening here? And then it got even more convoluted and more crazy, more chaos. Everybody started throwing fists. Then the faces and the heels kind of started splitting off. And by the end of the segment, somehow the Shield got arrested. And if you really paid attention, and this is where it kind of all went in the right direction for me, when Baron Corbin was telling the Shield that he was going to work it out and get them released from jail, there were two distinct lines of wrestlers. You saw on one side they were faces, other side they were heels. Okay, that told me something was going on, and maybe there was just some miscommunication with the first wave of guys who came out. I have no idea. It doesn't seem to matter, because there is seemingly a strong divide about to happen. I don't think of which likes we've ever seen in the WWE, because by the end of the show, when there was supposed to be a main event of Baron Corbin and Finn Balor, which ended up being Braun Strowman and Finn Balor, who obviously this new faction has the ear of Baron Corbin, and they're getting preferential treatment, I would say, and they're definitely all working in cahoots. And it seems like the rest of the heels are in on this as well, because by the time everything was done and the Shield did inevitably come back out through an ambulance, we had the entire heel roster basically come down and beat the brakes off the Shield and leave them laying. It seems like we have an absolute civil war about to break out on Monday Night Raw, and I fucking love it. I don't know if it's going to be the entire roster against the Shield. I don't know if this means there's going to be another faction coming in, but I'm telling you where my mind goes. My mind goes somewhere when I see faction wars and I see distinct lines I start asking myself why, and I start thinking, is there anything else going on in the wrestling world that can connect to WWE that could possibly have any ramifications on this? And the only thing that I can come up with is something that is happening quietly but quickly out in social media, and that's the NWO reunion tour, which seems to be, considering I believe the NWO is still trademarked by WWE. I believe it is. They still sell the shirts. I believe they own the trademark. Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall have been orchestrating this reunion tour, and they're selling merch again. They're doing the old black and white promos. They're doing the whole situation. It's kind of neat, right? And this whole situation is kind of taking on a life of its own, and they're getting some tours together. There's all kinds of stuff that's happening. And there's been rumors that the NWO would be returning to the WWE. This makes sense to me, to have something, because if you're going to have as many people as you have going against the Shield, you're going to need something to balance it out. And sometimes you're going to need an absolute cancer, which WWE has used before, the cancer to destroy the show altogether. Or, you know, a counterbalance to a balance, whatever you want to call it. And the NWO certainly could provide that. They don't have to do a lot physically. It's the presence that will matter. I mean, in a lot of ways, there's so many similarities between the NWO and the Shield. One was trying to take over, of course, and the other is the Hounds of Justice that were really never the Hounds of Justice. They just did what they wanted to do. Dressed the same, they have the same cool demeanor. They're the top guys in the industry, bloody, bloody, bloody. It makes a lot of sense. Now, they don't have that established, super larger-than-life leader that could be John Cena at some day. I don't see that happening, but I mean, it's a possibility if you want to go full-on Hulk Hogan parallels. But it does seem like something could be building, because it makes sense to have those two in some sort of synchronicity. There's a story to be told there. And it seems with this time of year, it would make sense that it would be leading to something like SummerSlam, which makes me think that there's a possibility of this being the year that WWE uses what NXT used last year, and they will be using it again in War Games, unless they want to keep it just as NXT. But I don't see why they would. War Games was so well received last year, and it wasn't even a true standard War Games by all definitions. I think it worked better without the cage on top, and I thought I'd be 100% wrong on that, because I said that there was no way it was going to work without having the cage the way that it was originally. After hearing Triple H talk about that cage and why they lifted the roof off of it and how it's a different generation and they need those restrictions lifted, it all made sense to me. And it worked. It worked really well. Last year's War Games was not just good for a cage match. I believed it to be War Games. It felt like War Games in some sense. Not exactly the full-on War Games that we remember, but pretty damn close considering it's a new era. So I'm wondering if there's a possibility that they'll bring it to the main roster and we could really have something special out of this situation, either with 2 or 3 major factions and just going absolutely insane with it. Possibly even something, and this is something that has been rumored for a while as well, the possibility of a World War III revival. I don't know if you guys remember that. WWE loves their battle royals. They love their battle royals. Absolutely cherishes them. Every major event has, like, all the big ones, the ones that they're doing outside of the Royal Rumble and all that, but these new ones, Saudi Arabia, I'm fairly certain we're going to get an Evolution battle royal of some kind. I'm fairly certain the Super Show will have some sort of battle royal. They like to put them in there. Is it possible that they could go somewhere like China, even England, somewhere that they, that could really use a different sort of presence to it and bring back World War III, but have it as a battle lines type drawn situation, to have these different factions just go absolutely insane in 3 rings, 2 rings, whatever the case may be. Just a massive humanity in a battle royal type situation, last man standing, survivor, whatever the case may be. And just like in War Games, the winner would receive certain benefits for their group or whatever. They've done this a couple of times in WCW, not just with World War III, but other type of multi-faction scenarios. Who gets what? If this team wins, NWO gets such and such, and blah, all these type of things. They've done this before, and it has worked, and I think it's something that they could be potentially leading to in the future. But it's also likely that none of that's going to happen, and it's just going to be a straight-up Civil War storyline. And I think it could be really special. I don't know how they're going to work this with the faces leading in behind the shield. I don't know if they're just going to be leading it. I don't know if this is going to be led by Kurt Angle, which I'm very, very much expecting him to return and lead a faction of his own. I'm not sure. There's so much that they can do here that will make sense, and it could be really great storytelling for the next 4, 5, 6 months, leading all the way into WrestleMania. It could be a hell of a lot of fun. So I'm very, very excited about that. I think they did a great job with really getting into it. Joshua Hampton says, Dave, pray for me. I'm in the hospital. Ulcers, pancreas, and gallstones. Can't eat or drink anything. Everybody give a little bit of love to Joshua Hampton in the chat, man. I'm sorry that you're going through those hard times, baby. Everybody goes through hard times. Let me tell you about hard times, baby. No, I'm just kidding. I hope that you're okay. Everybody give him the healing power of copiousness. Go ahead and throw your hand to the camera there and give that positive energy through the camera. If anybody actually did that, you're a fucking idiot. Energy's not going to go through the camera, but absolutely give the guy some love in the chat, because it's never good to be going through the things that he's going through. Ulcers, pancreas, and gallstones. That ain't fun. That ain't fun. Hopefully you will feel better and quick recovery, my friend. Hopefully you guys are getting into that Discord so you can fill it up so we can talk and have a good old time here, because I'm running out of things to talk about on Monday Night Raw, but we do have one more topic that should take up a little bit of time, and then we will we'll get up out of this piece at some point, you know? It is what it is. Optimus Wilbur, my hand covered my phone just to get the power. Sure. Sure it did. Sure it did. You mother trucker. Okay. So the other major thing, I don't know if you heard about this or not. I don't know. It was sort of a big deal. Shawn Michaels returned to WWE Monday Night Raw last night. And, you know, I kind of just expected them to do the same thing that they always do. Shawn hypes up the event, talks about the different reasons and what he was choosing. And I got to be honest, I for some reason, 2 and 2 equaled 7 to me last night, because I, and seemingly like many other people in the wrestling world, did not for a second think The Undertaker was coming out. I never thought that shit was happening. Never thought The Undertaker was going to come and confront Shawn Michaels. I think that's the first time those two have been face-to-face, nose-to-nose in a very, very, very long time. And God, it was cool. Jesus, it was neat. How fucking awesome was that? Seeing those two together. But the question is where they were going to go with it. I mean, Shawn was obviously backing Triple H in the situation, and he had good reasons to be backing him. He brought up the fact that The Undertaker simply doesn't have that much left in his tank compared to what Triple H has. So it made a lot of sense to go down that route of thinking. The Undertaker went to a whole nother place with it and started talking about Shawn Michaels' retirement and not coming back. Shawn got very impassioned, talking about the millions and millions of dollars that he's left on the table, talking about how all the fans want him to come back for one more match. The wrestlers that hound him at WrestleMania every single year for one more match, and he never did out of respect to The Undertaker. I had chills. I had fucking chills all over. It was amazing. Hey, $1 from Reaper Hip Hop and Gaming. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. You taking calls? Yes, I am taking calls, my friend. We are taking calls. Get into the Discord, and we will get your call as soon as I'm done with this last little spiel I have on Monday Night Raw. We are talking about everything and anything that you could possibly want to talk about. There is no set topic. You don't have to talk about wrestling if you don't want to. Don't worry about it. We can talk about whatever you like. We can do whatever you like. And thank you very much for the $1. Much appreciated. And in fact, you made me holla for that $1. You can say it. You can tell everybody with pride that you made Dead on Dave holler. And I want to go read that thing. And I was trying to, I want to read the donation. And I was trying to fucking gild the lily here so I had time to put in my friggin' stupid Twitch code, which I'm doing right now. Excuse me, verify the stupid token so I can read the goddamn thing. Okay. Oh my goodness. Two-factor authentication. What? Let's see that. What that? Authentication. Good going. You taking calls, Bruno? If so, how do I find your Discord? The Discord is right in the description box, and now it is in the chat. All you got to do is go in there, click that link, get in the waiting to call, and I will take your calls very, very soon. All right? All right. So with everything that The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels got into, it really got me thinking. I mean, like, is this to set up Shawn Michaels returning? Everybody had the exact same thought. And if so, is it just straight up to be against The Undertaker? The Undertaker said, he basically called bullshit on everything that Shawn just said, because he said, if you were to come back, there's only one person that you would be calling, and that's me. And I would put you down all over again. It was chilling. It was absolutely incredible. I absolutely loved it. But the obvious thing would be The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels potentially at WrestleMania 35. And even more obviously, it would be Shawn Michaels costing The Undertaker the match against Triple H, which would make it all happen. Again, makes total sense. I don't know if I necessarily want Shawn Michaels to come out of retirement. He gave such an impassioned speech and all that stuff. Zanta Claws says I would call him, but I messed up my neck. Also, Dave, have a little video for you soon. Oh, thanks a lot, man, and feel better. I'm sorry that your neck isn't feeling well. I do appreciate you being here, though, Zanta. Kick back, relax, and listen to the smooth sound voice of copiousness. Anyways, so, yeah, they very well could be doing that setup where Shawn costs him and all of that, but then you start looking at it logically where it doesn't kind of make sense. Like, they've already set up The Undertaker's match potentially at WrestleMania. You know, you had this weird squash. I don't know if you guys remember the weird squash at WrestleMania where this guy named The Undertaker squashed some no-name jobber by the name of John Cena. You know, it seems with The Undertaker's previous comments about wanting to finish his career with a loss to specifically John Cena, it seems like the perfect opportunity at WrestleMania 35 to have a big marquee match one more time, send The Undertaker out on a loss on his Shield to John Cena. Why? It's going to piss a lot of fans off, but it does seem to have a lot of, sense making. Undertaker's already lost at WrestleMania, so it doesn't make sense for him to go out on a win. I mean, he could go out on a win, but maybe not. You just don't know at this point with The Undertaker. He doesn't seem to be in it for anything other than his own personal fun. He seems to be having fun again for the first time in a while, and I do like that. So that's pretty cool. So with that idea, with Shawn Michaels not really needing The Undertaker as his opponent, well, what else could they possibly leading up to? Where does this go? Because Shawn's going to be in Australia. I'm certain he's going to get involved. So does that mean that he costs Triple H? And they set up a match between him and Triple H because Triple H doesn't have virtually anybody else to wrestle. We haven't seen Shawn and Triple H in the ring together since what? 2007? 2006? 2008? In a one-on-one confrontation, 2006, 2007, something like that. It's been a long time since we've seen those two, and with their friendship, it makes sense that maybe they could be leading to that. I don't think Triple H would be turning on Shawn, but Shawn could turn on Triple H. Something of the nature, where were you? I don't know, something. They could do whatever they want. I think it's a pretty damn good idea. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Triple H doesn't really have anyone else to pick from. He's wrestled all the new guys that are in, unless they want to do AJ Styles or something like that, but I don't see them wanting to go that route. There's really not a lot of reason for it. So where else? Shawn makes sense. But then they announced the segment for next week, which starts making me think in another direction altogether. It's kind of weird. Anthony Castillo, you're so much better than Cronin. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm sure Joe doesn't like that very much, but still, regardless of that, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you much. I don't watch Cronin anymore, so I couldn't even tell you. Juan Gonzalez, what's up, Dave? Just joined the stream, and I must say that you're looking sexy as ever. Yeah, love you, dude. Thank you very much. Touch that tip for me. Oh, that felt good. Thank you very much. So when they announced the segment for next week, my brain started going in a totally different way. They announced that Triple H is going to be in the building, and then they just threw out the fact that Mick Foley is going to be there as well, doing the same role that Shawn Michaels had, which makes sense. Shawn Michaels picked Triple H, and Mankind, Mick Foley, picked The Undertaker. Undertaker retired Shawn Michaels. Triple H retired Mankind. Mick Foley. Bang, bang. Have a nice day. So what does it mean for next week? Well, with the Mick Foley being Mick Foley and the fact that he is in the best shape that we've seen him in like forever, I'm calling beatdown. I'm calling beatdown. I'm calling vicious, vile beatdown. I mean, of epic proportions. They might bust Mick Foley open next week. I think what we're going to see is after The Undertaker intimidated Shawn Michaels, Triple H's best friend, in the way that he did, it would only make sense that arguably The Undertaker's greatest rival of all time, Mankind, Mick Foley, getting obliterated by Triple H. Because again, these are two different situations. It made sense for The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels just to talk things out and just have that voice communication and no physicality. Shawn could have tried to load a super kick and hit him with it, but would have just caught a choke slam or whatever, and it really wouldn't have mattered all that much other than setting up more animosity between Triple H and Taker. But now you have an opportunity for Triple H to make a fucking direct statement. He could take out Mick Foley in a vicious, vile manner, really get back into that cerebral assassin mode that everybody seems to like about Triple H. The legendary aspect of the match is enough to sell the match. The last time ever, end of an era, the era returning, all of those things. They're wonderful sellers. But what sells these type of matches more than anything else? Violence and hatred. And these four guys in particular have more violence in between the four of them and anger between the four of them in different respects over the years than almost any four other wrestlers that I can think of that had links to one another. So this could be a completely new situation that could be coming down the pipe. And it all starts with Triple H obliterating Mick Foley next week on Monday Night Raw, which I think is all but assured to be happening. I really believe it. If Mick can take a beating, he's going to take a beating next week. An absolute bludgeoning. And that's going to set up an even bigger situation. And who knows what could happen. Maybe he gets involved in Australia and that'll allow Shawn Michaels to get involved. I don't know who's going to win the match. I don't know what's going to set up. I really am not 100% sure with any of the situation because it is quite unique and quite insane. You don't get legends coming back on the big spotlight, on a big stage, and even having an event created for them, in essence, to be able to not take the spotlight off of anybody else in one of the big four or big five pay-per-views. This is brilliant. This is smart. They just made Australia matter even more than Saudi Arabia mattered, and that was a hell of a motherfucking card. That was a great card. Greatest Royal Rumble of all time. What a fantastic card that was. It disappointed in some aspects, but not really all that much. Obviously, we can get back into the women thing another fucking day, but not on this one. Australia is going to be the exact same way. They've built an event around legends, man. How cool is that? That's fucking like dick hardening to me. I'm so excited to see this. I can't wait. So I think that there's a lot that can come of it. I don't know where it's going. If Shawn does wrestle again, he could wrestle a newer guy, but he's kind of balked at that in the past. He's talked about how he doesn't really want to work with someone like AJ Styles because their similarities are way too much. He would rather work with a bigger guy, which he's always favored doing. He said that he would get a lot more out of someone like Samoa Joe, and I agree with him. But aside from a situation like that, Undertaker, Triple H makes a fuck ton of sense. I'm not sure where it's going to go. Maybe it goes nowhere. I'm not exactly sure. But that's where I have it as. Hopefully you guys have followed all of that. We talked about most of the big things that happened on Monday Night Raw. We could get into the Alexa Bliss promo quickly if you want, because I did enjoy that. I like that Alexa showed just that she is one of the best promos in wrestling today. It's so easy to bury your hometown. Jericho's done it for years. Every time he goes back to Canada, he always fucks with them. It's always great. You love seeing that. Elias does it, but he does it very hackneyed. This disgusting town, blah, blah, blah. It's the same shtick all the time. So it gets a little bit old. you get a little tired of seeing it. So when Alexa's able to do something like what she did, we're obliterating her hometown and making fun of her friends who were in the audience, I loved it. And the way I fucked Elias really got me going, because if she'd fucked that chud, maybe I have a chance after all. I have no idea. But it was cool. It was a cool promo. Alexa doesn't need a belt to be relevant, which is a nice thing to see. She's made her own little clique, her own little faction, what I think is kind of fun to watch. I think they're doing a good job of getting a lot of people different exposure in different ways. We saw it even with a minor match that had no ramifications, really, with, Dana Brooke, who I want to like. I've always wanted to like Dana Brooke. She getting rid of Titus worldwide, one of the worst fucking things that they've had in a very long time, and I can't believe they kept it going as long as they did, but they have, and it's awful. But Dana could be getting a new direction. Hopefully that also leads to Apollo Crews getting a new direction, maybe getting traded to SmackDown. I don't know. Apollo's too talented to do nothing. You know, they brought him up from NXT far too soon, but still, I don't know. I think it's a pretty damn cool thing. Then we get the announcement of Lita essentially redoing her retirement match with Mickie James. That should be a lot of fun. They're setting up more stuff for Evolution. They did a lot last night on Raw. They packed it full of all kinds of stuff, and I think they did a really good job of putting together a show out of nowhere. And on a weekend where everybody was talking about wrestling with All In, whether you loved it or you hated it, whatever the case may be, it was on your lips and people were talking about it, and WWE was certainly listening. They came hard last night, dude. They went fucking hard as shit last night, and I thought they did a good job. Aside from the obvious bad, there was a whole lot of good, and I thought it was great. Makad said she turned that promo on a dime. It was awesome. I agree. Isaiah Ross says the whole summer, and you still have your head up WWE's ass. This fuse is a geriatric mess. Shut the fuck up, Isaiah. You know, stop for 1 second being such a hateful, goddamn trolling smark and enjoy something fucking magical. We saw two of the greatest in the history of this profession who are still physically able to somewhat do something. The Undertaker, over what he's done over the last year, showing that he's in best physical shape that he's been in a long time. Shawn Michaels looks like he could still get in the ring and do what he wants. And you're complaining about a magical fucking moment? How? This was beautiful. This was great to see. That's what wrestling is, man. It's those moments that you wait for. It's those moments that just encapsulate you completely and bring you in and put you in the palm of their fucking hand. I've been doing nothing but shitting on WWE. I stopped watching a lot of this stuff for a long time, so don't dare come in here and say that I'm up WWE's ass. But I can definitely say that was one hell of a good Monday Night Raw last night. That's just my opinion. All right. AJP's up in here as well. What's going on? How you doing? Let's see what else some other people be saying. Mr. Robinson, do you believe Vince McMahon bummed Shawn Michaels? Sure, why not, Mr. Robinson? Cuckoo-cuckoo, Mr. Robinson. Leaping Lizard, Overtaker and Mike Farley versus Shane Michaels and Double H tag team match. Exactly. Mystic says, yeet! Violence and hatred. You like that, Makad? You like that shit? Kaji, tag team match somewhere along the line, DX versus Taker and Foley. That's a good possibility, too. That's a very good possibility. I think, which makes sense. There's a parallel there. If you go back to 1997, late 96, early 97, when DX was formed, it really became a formation, correct me if I'm wrong, in a tag team match between Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Undertaker and Mick Foley. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that tag team match is kind of the birth of D-Generation X. A lot of people will say that. So I think that makes sense. Maybe there's a parallel here that they're doing. I don't know. I don't know. So let's see here. Let's see. Dave, who's higher on the GOAT list, Hunter or Mick? Triple H. Triple H to me, I'm a big Triple H fan, and I love Mick Foley. Have a nice day. I mean, I've had it. He did a promo for me before, which was really cool. Somebody bought a promo from him, and he did one for me, and he was really nice about it. He was a really cool guy. I love Mick Foley. Bang, bang. You think it doesn't hurt? It hurts. I'm a good kisser. Bang, bang! I love Mick Foley, but I love Triple H even more. And everything that he's been able to do for NXT and the way that he's put people over in his career that he never fucking seems to get credit for, It's just I'm Triple H is up there. He's one of the top 5 or 6 to me. You know, Mick Foley's more of a top 15 guy, I would say. Carl G. Ronda needs to stop with the gimmicky smiling. Baddest woman on the planet shouldn't be smiling when a kid in a candy store every time she comes out. I tweeted that out last night, and I 100% agree with you, Carl. It makes me insane to see Ronda. It doesn't even make it look like she's happy-go-lucky and all that. It makes her look like she's a visitor. She owns the division. Fucking act like it. You could do both. You could walk to the ring and give the high fives, but you don't need to stand at the fucking entrance every time you come out at the entrance ramp and just go. You don't have to do that. You could be both. Walk fucking quietly, but carry a big stick. And Ronda's got a bigger stick than most men, if you know what I'm fucking talking about. Okay? So there's no need for this shit. It doesn't even make any sense to me to have her continue to do it. It really is insanity. All right, let's go ahead and let's turn it over to some calls. I'm ready to get right into it. I saw Old School Matt in there before anybody else, and I want to get his ass up in this piece. Old School Matt, why'd you go away, you dumb cunt? You're live with Dead on Dave. Old School Matt, Old School Matt. Hang out. This might be a me problem. I'm not sure. Let's see. Reaper O'Malley, are you there? Can you hear me? Reaper, can you hear me? Reaper, can you hear me? I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on your end. I don't know. Well, that's lovely. That's just great. Reaper! Reaper! All right, somebody get in here so we can test this properly with somebody who actually has their microphone on. Old School Matt, is it you or me? Oh, I hear something. Old School Matt. I heard something. I heard a click. Reaper O'Malley, are you there?
No.
Reaper.
No. Yeah.
What's up,
Sorry,
man? You're live with it. You're good, buddy. You're live with that on Dave.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Well, I got 2 questions, but I actually, got some. So the first one, do you try out for hosts? I have a better mic. I'm just using my earbuds right now. Do you try out for hosts?
No, not typically. No, I mean this is how it usually works. If you're a part of the community for a while and I like what you do and you bring a lot and you're a good caller, sometimes I will reach out and I will try to bring people in as co-hosts. But that's usually an arduous process and I rarely jump to that. But I mean, if you call in and I like you got a shot, sure.
All right, cool. And my second question is so like you don't really do drama, but I was wondering, so like you saw everything that happened with Kraut and T. I was wondering, like, what your take on that was.
It's for the facts that I have, I can't really give you all that much other than what's already out there. It seems to be that Kraut didn't do any doxing himself. There doesn't seem to be any evidence to the fact that he told anybody to do it. Whether it happened in his server or not, I don't know if that should reflect directly on Kraut. It just depends on if you can prove that there's involvement in such of that nature. And with that situation, I don't know enough to be able to say definitively. I don't have a relationship with Kraut like Tommy has, so I don't have that personal attachment to him. I've never really watched him. I don't really know him all that well or anything. He seems to be a good guy, but I don't know. As long as he deserves a second chance like anybody else. So, I mean, as long as he doesn't fuck up from this point forward, I really don't have a problem with him being back.
Yeah, I just don't know whether to trust him or not. Because, dude, something just as easily could have happened to, Colossal doesn't go on his server at all. So, if something was happening in that server and he didn't know about it, but at the same time, I don't know how to... I don't know, because... I get it. My view, one view doesn't really count. But I don't like giving grimy motherfuckers a view. You know what I mean?
I get you. No, I totally get it. And that's something that you're going to have to come to terms with over time. I mean, the thing is, with second chances, they're not automatically given. You can give somebody the opportunity to listen to them and see if you want to become a fan of theirs again, if you want to trust them again in any capacity, but you got to give them the opportunity to at least earn it back, unless you close the door completely. And if so, there's no reason to even think about them again from this point forward. So you just got to decide where you want to go with it down the line, and each person who listens to them has to make that decision.
Yeah, my problem is, I don't know. The guy just... like why would you take the rat for some like you know what I mean? Why would you plead guilty? You know what I mean?
Okay, I actually have an answer for that. I actually do have an answer for that because we see this a lot. There is a lot of time in celebrity or whatever you want to call it where people will pay off somebody in a trial situation just to make it go away. Sometimes people will even admit to things that they didn't do in hopes that it does go away.
To my understanding, this never went to trial, so there was no case to plead to.
But the court of public opinion. And maybe he thought he was completely fucked and there was no way that this can get turned around. I do believe that he was being threatened, or at least that was what was being told, or his family was at risk, something of that nature. And it just didn't seem necessary for him to continue to mount a defense when there was no evidence that he could present. Now evidence is there, apparently, for him to present that he had nothing to do with it. Now you just have to decide if you believe that admission, or you believe the evidence that is now being presented. It's really something you're going to have to come to at some point.
Yeah, I guess it's just like each person's different, but for me, I'd rather drive this bitch off a cliff than, you know what I mean?
No, I feel you.
Rather than say, fuck it, I did it. Like, fuck that. I don't know.
Yeah, in most of the time, you should never admit to something you didn't do. It typically doesn't work out. We saw this in the goddamn dark ages with the witch hunts and all of that. Bitches be fucking getting there, tortured by people. You know, admit you're a witch, and then they admit they're a witch, and they get fucking burned, you know? So, don't admit to something unless you absolutely did it, you know?
Yeah, unless it's like a case, like an actual case, and they're offering you less time or something. I don't know, but
a plea deal.
Fuck, yeah. Fuck that. Right. I'm not being called a doxer for if I didn't do it.
I feel you. I feel you.
All
right, man. Good call. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Good stuff. Reaper O'Malley, good guy, good caller, good stuff. All right. 99 in the chat says, went to a restaurant, waitress had a black eye, said my order very slowly because she obviously doesn't listen. Oh my God, I can't believe I just read that. I should not laugh at that. Oh my God, you're a dickhead. That's fantastic. Holy Lord. Everyone lies. That means if you're not asked to co-host, Dave doesn't like you. Yeah, basically. Film oddities. Cuck. Yes, sir. May I have another? Good shit. All right. Dave, did you hear that Ellsworth is returning on SmackDown Live? I heard that Ellsworth is going to be, he was backstage, but he might be returning to WWE in a 205 Live capacity. I haven't seen it confirmed 100% that he'll be on SmackDown. Considering he was fired, it kind of makes sense that maybe he's being brought into 205 Live. You do have this new situation with Drake Maverick, who's now, for some reason, the manager of AOP. Is it possible that James Ellsworth is going to get the GM role of 205 Live? Ugh. Terrifying. I'm not a fan of this shit. Good Lord. Makad, violence, hatred, and witch burning. Oh my. Dave, where you at? I'm in New Britain, Connecticut, baby. Been here getting everything together with the VA and everything, trying to get my life sorted out. Be going back to Germany somewhere around November-ish, late November, for about probably 6 weeks or something like that. And then I'll be coming back here to continue on my merry way. And I'll be doing that for basically until I die, probably. Somebody kill me. Somebody kill me. Also, guys, we're going to continue to take your calls, so get into the Discord, please, my mush puffs. And we're also doing chugs for you if you want the fastest beer chug you've ever seen by a beautiful fat man on YouTube. $15 to the channel. Well, actually, $14 now to the channel. Excuse me. And I'll chug a brewski for you. But let's get back to the calls. Hello, Mr. Tobes. It's nice to see you, my once and future co-host. What's going on, my friend?
How have you been, Dave? I'm doing well.
I'm now 75% sexier because you're here.
Well, the stream is. I don't.
No, me. You make me look better because you're so ugly. No, I'm just kidding. How you doing?
I mean, get your facts straight, man.
You're not even on camera, so it didn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a big vagish who won't fucking... You're not coming on camera anyway. It's not because you're a vagish. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, see, you're digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah, I know, because you have special circumstances, so I can't make fun of you totally, because someone might try to kill you. Boo fucking who, Tobes? Oh, are you gonna get thrown off a building, Tobes? Oh, I'm so sorry. No, come on, Sally, put your fucking big boy pants on. I'm just kidding.
I never said you can't make fun of me for it.
I know.
I know. That's a straw man.
But the implication being that you shouldn't make fun of somebody in your situation. Sure. You know.
Was I implying it?
I think so, because you're a liberal cuck. You're a liberal cuck.
This is why you can only hold 30 viewers, Dave.
Fuck you, bitch. I went an hour late. Fucking Tommy streaming over on Twitch. You could suck my fucking butthole. And I'm doing wrestling, which everybody fucking hates. Suck my ass. How about that? What are your numbers like?
Better business decisions. You know.
That's true. I guess we all can't just, ride the coattails of everyone else around us. Oh well, life is life. What do you got for me, buddy?
Yeah. Okay. I wanted a Dead on Dave hot take, to be honest.
All right, let's do it.
What is your opinion on the current culture war?
What the fuck?
No, seriously, like the Nike ad stuff.
You know what? I almost
just the corporate culture stuff.
I'm gonna try and navigate this water as well as I can, because this is such a loaded situation. And I have seen your views on it. I've been seeing you going after people who are, pissed off over the Colin Kaepernick thing with Nike. My issue isn't even that Nike has gone and done this with somebody who I don't really see as a deserving person of it. I do understand the message they're trying to portray. Stand up, use your voice, even if it sacrifices everything. The issue I have is that Colin Kaepernick, up until a few years ago, when he was successful, when he had a platform that he could have used, when he actually was a superstar in the league, didn't use it then. It was only when his career went to fucking shit and somebody got in his goddamn ear that he started going on this socio-political fucking nonsense. And the bigger problem that I have with it is that he's changed his stance too many times. First, it wasn't about black and white politics. Then it became mainly about the fact that minorities are being shot by cops. And everybody gets on these bandwagons without ever looking at the facts that double the number of fucking blacks being shot in the country. You've got the amount of white people that have been shot by cops in the country. The numbers don't fucking back up a lot of the arguments that are being made about the country at large. And that kind of bothers me, because that means there's a whole misnomer about the entire situation to begin with. These numbers are out there. You can look them up for yourselves. Fact is, up to this point this year, I believe there's been 137 black men or women shot by cops in the United States. In the exact same amount of time, there's been 243, I believe, white men or women who have been shot to death by police in this country. But we don't ever talk about those because they don't matter. It's just another big mix-up in the rigmarole of this political bullshit where only one side matters because one side's been on the top for a very long time. That's not equality. That's tipping the scales to favor yourself. And I do have a problem with that in general. I'm going to pass out. Oh. God, that might have been. It's either the smartest or the stupidest thing I've ever said. I don't know which.
Some things may be taken as both in that statement, but let's gloss over those. My biggest problem with it is just like the left, who have been complaining for years. Okay, my left have been complaining for years about Nike violating labor rights.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then Nike gets woke and then joins the culture war, and then it's suddenly okay that Nike's doing it,
right?
Because they're fighting for the oppressed by making shoes by other oppressed
yeah
people.
It's a PR move.
It is genuinely a PR move.
It is.
These people see it as something grander,
and
it pisses me off. Even with the conservatives, that fucking conservative, like, you didn't care when, like, people's lives were actually on the line. Yeah. Now that someone used their freedom of speech to an extent, yeah, I know he worked for a private company or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but he did a protest. Something, to me, a protest is, like, the most American thing ever.
I agree.
And you say he's, like, unpatriotic and he doesn't want to do this shit. And then you throw him in as, like, Nike being anti-American. Like,
Yeah.
just like, if you're gonna protest something like valid, something that changes the world. It's so stupid seeing you burn your fucking Nike shoes.
I mean, but that's the
because-
individual stupidity. If they want to waste their money, they're more than welcome to do it. I want to make one point to what you just said, though, because you were talking about the ability to protest being the most American thing that you can do, and I agree with that. But let me ask you this. If you decide one day to go to your Taco Bell job or Mick job or whatever you have here in America and decide to protest, you're probably going to get fired for it. I mean...
Yeah, and that's why we need unions, Dave.
Right? Yeah. Well, but even with union type things, the ability to protest politically at an individualized corporation is a different thing altogether. That's not protected. That's never been protected. It's not supposed to be. You're individualized. You're signing a contract with a corporation to be able to go within the best, whatever represents that company the best. And if they don't feel that you're in line with that, they can get rid of you. We've seen it over and over. People misuse fucking free speech all the time. It's government reprisal is what fucking the First Amendment protects you from. Nothing else. Government cannot silence you. That's freedom of speech. People always fuck that up. PK's just donated $5, $4.99. Tell Tobes I have a good-looking porch on the back of my house, about a 15-foot drop. If he's interested, he can whisper me. What a fucking asshole! I can't. What a fucking asshole! What a fucking asshole!
I'm in Norway right now. I'm
Oh, you're safe as houses, aren't you?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm here for the foreseeable future. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You and I need to have a talk.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you in so long, Dave. Like, that's why.
I know.
I was talking with Nick, and I just like, you know what? Dave's live. Let me just hop on, ask him something stupid.
Yeah, because you never reach out to me and talk to me or anything, but you're still doing Tommy show the whole 3 months that I was. Whatever. It's fine. I see where your fucking priorities lie.
You
It's
got
all
me
right.
strike, bitch.
You're a cunt. You're a fucking dick. You are such a piece of shit. Oh, how dare you?
You break the terms and conditions. You have to suffer the consequences.
Thank you, Tobes. Thank you. I cannot wait to piss on your grave one day, you piece of garbage. Oh, my God. I'm going to go to whatever fucking weird plot you end up putting yourself in. I'm going to take a big steaming fucking Tobes right on top of it. Holy shit. Oh my God. Thank you for asking me such a loaded question, by the way. I greatly appreciate that.
No, it's like, I wanted a dead on Dave hot take, and I kind of
You got it. You got it. I mean, look, there's so much more that you can get into it with it. I mean, I saw people like Isaiah in there and saying things like, blacks are mistreated more than whites and such like that. But I mean, the other side of the numbers that I brought up earlier is the fact that where's the most of the crime coming from as well?
Percentage-wise.
And which does go out the window when we talk about major cities, because there's always more violence in major cities than there are in more rural places. We know that to be fucking true. But
yeah,
still.
it's a nuanced argument that people are treating like it's a black and white thing.
Well, no, because it's being made that way, certainly in the media's eye. I mean, the media is certainly fucking portraying it that way, and they're spearheading this hatred. The media is spearheading this hatred, and Trump is as well. He's no better than anyone else in this situation. He's fucking antagonizing everybody that he possibly can, but that's how he won the presidency, so that's what we fucking elected him for, right? I guess. Fuck.
Okay, I also have another question, Dave. Do you keep up with the gubernatorial election?
Oh wait, before there, I want to address one more thing I just saw in the chat. Honestly, Dave, I think you don't like kneeling because you're a vet, says Isaiah Ross. You could not be more wrong. I never took that as a slight on me at all. You know what my biggest problem with it is? It's a fucking football game. It's a football game. People don't want to see this shit. We've seen it over and over, especially in a situation like that where a dude like Colin Kaepernick will wear a Fidel Castro shirt but then talk about civil rights. It's you know what I mean? You know what I fucking mean? It's like I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm one of the most vile human beings who's ever been a leader in the past 50 fucking years, and that's who he's sporting talking about fucking civil rights. I know. I have more problem with that. I don't give a fuck. That I don't think it has anything to do with the military. I get what he was trying to do, and I think it's been bastardized and fueled by hatred of Trump since then. Because Trump got involved and it became a big fucking thing, and now it has become kind of black versus white. LeBron James has kind of made sure of that to a point as well. And I think it's unfortunate because I don't think that was ever the intent. I don't even think it was necessarily the intent by Colin, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. But, oh well, I guess only time will fucking tell. Ask me your next governor type question. This will be interesting.
Yeah. Do you keep up with the gubernatorial?
Not really.
Run in Florida.
Not really, no.
Basically, the Democratic nominee is a progressive by the name of Andrew Gillum, I think.
Okay.
He's black. Okay.
All right.
And his opponent is a very Trumpian sort of Republican.
Yeah.
You know, like he'll throw shit out just to stir the pot. Right?
Right.
And he has a history of doing that. Now, when he was on, I think, Fox News, and he goes, we can't we can't enact socialism. We don't want to monkey this up, monkey this economy up. Sorry.
Monkey? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
no.
what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
He's an idiot. Even if it was an accident, which it probably was not, but even if it was, what a fucking moron. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, but the idiots took the bait. Even Andrew Gillum took the bait, and he said something like, you can't be that racist, and stuff like that.
Which is exactly what he wanted him to do. If he did do it on purpose, that's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, so they can shift the conversation towards race and forget the issues.
Off the topics, yep.
Yeah, get off the topics, and that's how progressives normally lose elections.
Right. Trump has shown up to this point that he had a very loose outline of how to be president at best. I think under the circumstances, there is a lot that he has done right. I mean, it's never going to be talked about, but I think he has done some things right. As a veteran, I've seen it. I've been impacted by one of the things that he's done. But he had a loose outline at best. That's why he attacked the way that he did, because if he gets pressed on the issues, he's fucked. And I think we're seeing that now in this governor fucking race. Gubernatorial. I don't fucking know. Shit going down in Florida. We're seeing the same thing. It's probably a guy who can't stand on the issues, so he stands on something else. He race baits to be able to get the situation off of what he cannot possibly defend.
Yeah.
So, yep. Isaiah said in the chat, keep in mind, police and black people have had a bad relationship since the beginning. This is actually the best that dynamic has been. I think that's something to keep in mind as well. I mean, the world is as crazy as the world is, and we always want to talk about all the bad. The world is the most progressive and peaceful it's ever been in the fucking history of the world. You know, but it's never going to be enough. So I don't know. It's not all places are going to fucking fall in line and you know, treat people decently.
Another thing with the police the police v black people situation. That's what it is at this point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not exactly, but okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, no, that's what it looks like when you look at it. When you look at the decorum, I guess.
Well, I mean, look, there's a fallacy going around. I mean, I told this story before when I came back from Germany. I was in a car full of people who were like, the cops just shoot you. Even if they just pull you over, they just shoot you. And they were fucking dead serious. Everybody has guns. Everybody is breaking into everybody's houses. And you get shot if you get stopped by the cops. Look, there's a fallacy going... Right, isn't it just a blast? Don't you want to come here so badly? There is this fallacy that... And I'm sure it is true, and it has been true in cases in certain parts of the country at times. I'm sure even right now, there are places where there is such a thing as walking while black. I believe it. In fact, I've seen it. I'm sure it is. But it's not the epidemic that we hear. I do think that most cops are good, fucking people. They're good cops. They don't have hatred in their heart. They're not just looking to bust black folk. But unfortunately, we have a very paranoid culture now that's constantly looking for it and always looking guilty because of it. And it's causing issues that don't need to be there. Nobody's right in the situation. Everybody's wrong, and everybody's paying for it, and it's sad.
I think the biggest problem is like police training,
Yeah.
and how long compared to other countries, the police train for, and also the community policing aspect that is like, it's nowhere in the United States except like fucking Indian reservations.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Native American.
Yeah, oh God, way to get me struck down again, Tobes. Thanks a lot there. I'm fucking done because of you. I can't believe...
Oh, you should have seen Tommy earlier going like super politically incorrect with one of his trans viewers.
It's fine.
Amazing.
It's fine. You know how all Indians say hello, right? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? All right, so now we're fine. Now if I get a strike, it's my own fucking fault. Sorry,
Yeah.
Native Americans. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. All right. I missed you, by the way. Oh.
I missed you more, dude.
I know
want
you
to do a
have.
show with you so
Well,
bad.
like I told you, you can have your spot back. You just got to tell me what day, because I'm going to keep this time slot.
So, Wednesday. Wednesday would be good.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
Done. We'll start next week. Give you a week to get your shit
Done.
together.
Yeah, we'll do. What do we do? The Hollywood review.
Yeah.
I completely
No,
forgot.
we're no longer going to have the individualized show names anymore. It's all going to be Dead on Dave Live, because
That's gay.
because I can't. It's so stupid to try to brand 17 different shows at the same time. It doesn't work. So it'll all be Dead on Dave Live with different co-hosts, and we'll have the same topics like we had in the past. So Wednesday will just be Gay Day, where we talk about fucking Hollywood stuff, but we're not going to call it the Hollywood Review because there's really no need to do that. I just think it waters down, thins out everything, you know?
Yeah. All right. Makes sense.
All right. Let's see here. Isaiah Ross says there is also a lack of understanding and concern for ethnic communities. Not totally, but it exists. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have that with anything, though. And that goes on both sides of the aisle. You know, there's not everybody understands every civilization or culture on the fucking planet, even neighborhoods. You can't, but you know where not to go.
That's not really the.
I just say but no, I mean, but you know where you probably should not be. You know your own fucking safety. You know the places that you shouldn't go into, and you know whether it's for safety reasons because of the color of your skin, or it's simply because it's a neighborhood that's controlled by a mob, or gang violence, not necessarily driven by race. But you know the places where and which to go. But that's where a lot of people stop. And that's why I'm trying to speak to that point of what he was just saying. Not everybody does understand the ethnic communities. And there is a point to be had. Because most people just go off of that, do I feel safe? Do I not feel safe? And all that has to be dropped. But unfortunately, that's the driving force of the media, is to make you fearful of the other side.
Yeah. Because how are we going to get any news,
Right.
How
right.
are we going to get ratings?
I blame your boy Colbert.
I kind of do. Well, I don't blame him specifically. I blame late night journalism.
Well, it's funny. It's like when Colbert started on the Tonight Show, the numbers were abysmal. I was making fun of you for it. You remember that.
Yeah,
and then I stopped paying attention for a while, and he started going Trump crazy. It was all Trump all the time, and the numbers turned around.
It wasn't like when he was covering the election itself during the primaries. And most of the general, I'd say the primaries, he did 20% Trump. Yeah. Right. He was making fun of every candidate.
He was.
Every night he'd pick a candidate and just pick on him for an entire day. Yeah. But in the general, you saw a 40%. I say 30% shitting on Hillary Clinton, and then 70% shitting on Trump.
Oh sure.
Right?
Sure. But when he got elected, that changed.
Of course. Of course, he's the fucking president.
He became the reverse of the Colbert Report. He became the antithesis of that, and that's what the show has really become now. It's
self-parody in a way.
Yeah, it's all political. I can't turn it on. It just does nothing for me.
I love.
I know you want to suck him off. Smart. I know. He's not even
there are several people in late night that I cannot sit down and watch.
Yeah, basically everybody.
Seth Meyers.
Can't stand
Samantha
Seth Meyer.
Bee.
Yeah.
Samantha Bee is awful.
Yeah,
awful,
I agree.
Awful. She's, like you want to watch someone smell their own farts on air? Just watch Samantha Bee.
Right.
Like nearly everyone except like Colbert, you know what you're gonna get, and he's funny doing it. The rest are just pandering shits.
Yeah, that's why I still like Fallon. Because Fallon really hasn't given into the whole... I know you don't like Fallon. A lot of people don't. But I do. Because he's, for the most part, stayed out of all that shit. He just continues to do his stupid, frivolous little fucking games. You know, it's... And I kind of like that. Coxkey Productions says, what do you think of John Oliver?
I love John Oliver.
I he's a fantastic speaker. He can be very, very funny at times. I think he goes a little too crazy at some points, but that's what he's supposed to do. I don't always agree with his views, but he is incredibly entertaining and incredibly funny.
Fucking Nazi Dave. Oliver's a bit more corporate than I would like.
Yeah.
For example, if I want to go to fucking political comedy, I watch someone like Jimmy Dore, right?
Yeah.
He's left wing, but he's very funny. He's on YouTube, you know.
Right.
And there's like Kyle Kalinske can be very funny at times when he's talking about like religion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those are like really good people that you enjoy watching because they're very consistent. They don't pander.
Yeah, but you have to have that interest in it in the first place too. That does help, and which I really don't. So I don't like seek those people out. I'm so worn out on the political spectrum. I can't even fucking do it. And honestly, I'm not smart enough. I'm just a fucking fat guy trying to not die of fucking poorness. You know, that's all I'm trying to fucking accomplish here. Another day of which I could stream on Twitch. That's about it. It is what it is, right? All right. You got anything else for me, Mr. Tobes? Because you basically turned this into your co-stream. It's been a lot of fun, but it is getting later on in the day, and I'm getting tired.
How long have I been on here?
A good half hour, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say.
That's cool.
You got anything else to tell the kids? Tell them where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm on Twitter doing my political hot takes, and sometimes I tweet something movie related.
Yep.
As my film oddity.
Considering your name is Film Oddities, yeah, it's probably a good idea to throw something in every now and then.
It's more oddities than film at this point.
As of late.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I got to talk to you about?
What?
Hollyweed. I got to see if you liked Hollyweed.
I did not.
Ooh, you didn't? Really?
No.
I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely
I would assume you did.
Because I'm a fucking pot-smoking goddamn fucking hippie now, apparently. My God. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know. All right.
It was funny at times, but it wasn't like a...
I think there's something there. I think it should be. I hope it gets made. I think there could be something there.
Yeah, if he's ousted as director, then yeah.
Yeah,
just
I
a
don't
writer.
like that. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'd rather have him just be a writer.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. I'd be okay with that. I would. He doesn't need to put his vegan spin on it now. Jesus fucking Christ. Good Lord. All right. Anything else you want to tell the kids?
2 weeks. I have an exposed video on my channel, so go watch it in 2 weeks.
Who's it gonna be on? Is it gonna be on me?
No, someone very, very douchey that I can't stand.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a big list, though.
Let's just say
is it Tommy C?
No, he's friends with Count Dankula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still don't know, but okay.
Fuck it. It's Jeremy the cool.
No. Oh, really? You're going off to...
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm making a video on the quarter.
Hit me up. I fucking can't stand him. Hit me up. Hit me up. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, I need to talk to you some more about it.
We should have a conversation. You and I might need to start a bowling league or something. Fuck. All right. Good shit. All right, man. Thanks for calling in, brother. I'm going to get up out of here so I can go die on a couch.
All right, see you, Dave.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Tobes, everybody. Tobes. It's good to have him around. Carl G says they're filming more Hollywood in October, November. Awesome blossom. Dead on doobies, you fucking know it. I've been out of weed for like 10 days and I'm not happy. I did make a weed contact though. Now I need to make a money contact and then I can make the weed contact, bring me the weeds with the monies, and that'd be fucking fantastic. Also, when I have the $300 to be able to pay for it here, and that'll be probably a good 4 or 5 months in the future when I'm actually able to use that to be able to do it, I'm getting my medical marijuana card because I've already been approved. Not going to need it much longer in this state anyway because it's about to be recreationalized very, very soon. All right. I think I'm done. I'm very tired. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for supporting the channel, and both here and on Twitch. We had some very nice people, very generous people earlier. We chugged a couple of beers. If you want another beer chug now, you got a couple more minutes before I get up out of here. I'm going to say my goodbyes, but I'd be happy to chug a 4-second beer for you before we go. Just let me know whatever you want because I love yo motherfucking faces, and I appreciate you guys being here all the time. The comeback has been fun. The return to YouTube has been really, really good. I think we've been putting out some very good shows. I think of the 4 shows that we've done, 3 have been way more than good, bordering on great, and 2 maybe even exceptional. 1 was kind of but you know, it worked. We're still doing all of our wonderful shit over on Twitch. I also want you to check out my new channel, which I really should add to the description box. Trash or Treasure, you can see right here. We got all kinds of stuff going on there, including a brand new. Also, we got a lot of stuff going on with my Soul Crushing Radio brethren. We've been pumping out podcasts, and they're doing all kinds of wonderful stuff. Soul Crushing Radio is a podcast that's been around for a very long time. I've been a part of it in the past in a guest spot. Now I'm a full-blown cast member. They've been incredibly good to me, both in real life and in the virtual world, and I love working with them because they're some of the funniest people I promise you will ever hear. Go to soulcrushingradio.com, find all the places that you can listen to them and hear what you're missing. It is the best podcast you've never heard of. I promise you that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Fake, for that incredible, nice fucking thumbnail that you did for me. Saved me a lot of effort. I appreciate that. Thank you for Tobes for being a fantastic guest today. I thank you very much. Keep it copious, y'all. And remember, as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. Now go give a little bit of love to my patrons who continue to just give me that sweet, sweet attention. See you next time. Peace.